buttermilk crispy chicken? Let's find out.
It's probably the best sandwich I've ever had.
It's super crispy, but it's also really juicy.
So would you guys come back? Yep.
Yeah,
Of course, definitely. Well, here's our card. The location is on the back. It's McDonald's. What? What?
Oh, get out
No way.
Wait, seriously?
Try some buttermilk crispy chicken. It's right around the corner at McDonald's. Buttermilk.
This is Brad Atwell, Coach Jeff Griffith on Ask the Coach, back here on WCOU Sports. And again, if you don't have a chance to hear all of the program, you can go online. If you'd like to check out the podcast of Ask the Coach each week with game film, WCOU will post that podcast after the show airs live on the radio, and you can watch that video at watchwcou.com or just go to wcouradio.com and click on the video link. And as always, we want to thank McDonald's of Glasgow for sponsoring Ask the Coach podcast with game film. Coach Griffith, kind of looking ahead next week to Allen. Allen County is a good team. I don't know that their record shows maybe how good they are. And how's things looking ahead to next week?
Well, we had Allen on film when they had played Monroe the previous week, and of course it's a typical Allen County Brad Hood coach team, and that they've got they're big and physical up front, and they're going to play a physical style of football. They've got a good quarterback that can both run and throw, and I think he's also their leading rusher, and they do a good job in their passing game, and they're going to be physical up front. In a lot of ways, we're mirror images of each other. In a lot of ways, we're similar type kids, similar type styles of offense. So it should be a good football game between us and them. It'll be homecoming. We hope all the Trojan fans come out and get behind our football team, and but they're going to come in with a 1-3 record. Of course, they had a big win over Glasgow last night, and so they're going to have a lot of momentum, and they've played some pretty good football teams. So while they are 1-3, that doesn't necessarily mean they're a 1-3 team. I mean, they got a good team with a coaching staff that's coached in a state championship game 3 or 5 years ago, and so they know what they're doing. It's just about putting it together and getting some consistency. Much like us, I'm sure Coach Hood's saying similar things.
This is the first time we've played Allen County in a long time on a varsity schedule. And of course, being in that same district with them in basketball and baseball and all of our other sports, soccer and everything else. In football, we've not played them on the varsity schedule. I know since my boys have been in school. So that's been we've had about 6 years. I know we play them on a freshman level, played them on JV. Also played them in middle school, and it's always a dogfight. Yeah. I mean, the kids are just they just never quit, and most of the time when we've played them, it's usually been an 8-6 game or a 14-12 game, something like that. One thing I guess that I wonder if it's going to come down to is have they got somebody that can kick a field goal? Can we step up and can we possibly make that 3 points there on a field goal if we need to?
Well, I think it's been the last time that Barron and Allen played on a varsity football game was 2006 maybe. So it's been going on 9 years I guess since 2006, and I agree with you. It's again, like I said, similar styles, similar type kids, similar type schools and size and everything. So, it's going to be a tough ball game for us, be a tough ball game for them. But it's a game that needs to be played. Honestly, I mean, of course, this is my first year here, but I'm surprised that this game is one that hasn't been on the schedule the past few years. It's 25-30 minutes down the road. As you said, in the other sports, it's a district game. So, it just seems like a natural game that would be on the schedule, and I'm glad it's on the schedule now. I think it's one that we need to play, and it's a good game for us. It's a good game for them, and it should be a good gate game. Because they'll bring a lot of people. Our people will usually show up and come and support the teams, and so it should be a good ball game.
Great. Well, Coach, I'm going to look at a little bit after last night, look at some of the individual numbers. On the offensive side of the ball, like I said, we rushed the ball 26 times, and of those, Ellis Winiger rushed the ball 13 times for 55 yards. Andrew Hughes, 6 for 17. Stanton got 2 for 5 with a touchdown, and Mabe 4 times for a loss of 1. And you know that number on Hughes actually is really 2 rushes for 21 yards. 4 of those a loss were on, you know, some pressure that they were getting on him for sacks. And then on passing, Hughes was 10 for 25 with 108 yards and a touchdown with 2 interceptions. 5 of those passes went to Nick Mabe for 5 for 83 yards and a touchdown. Of course, Perkins 1 for 2, Gibson Lowe 3 for 19, and Winiger 1 for no gain. So then on defensive side of the ball last night, you know, Zach Sneed led us last night with 9 tackles and a forced fumble. Jordan Hill 6 tackles with a forced fumble. Cody Blakely 7 tackles, 1 of those a sack. Grant Bowen with 5, Mason Perkins with 4 tackles, Zach New, Jared Hurt, Chris Aguero with 3 tackles each, Matthew Bellamy and Heston Harrison each with 2, and Stonehammer, Blaine Rigsby, and J.J. Walters with 1 each. And Coach, I want to go back and talk. I've said this kid's name before on the radio and ask you about him, but there's 2 kids to me that are young guys that kind of stand out a little bit as they come in and played some. The first one is Chris Aguero. You know, we've talked about Chris is small. He gives up a lot of size on the defensive line. But I'm telling you, that kid, he's got a heart and determination to play, and he's got it seems like a never quit attitude.
Well, Chris does a good job. As you said, he's undersized, but he plays with a big big motor, and he's always going 100 miles an hour, and that's what gives him the opportunity to play in there. Of course, you know, he practiced Tuesday and came in. Of course, we've had a little sickness going around, and he got a little bit of that on Wednesday and didn't get to practice on Wednesday really, and came back Thursday and Friday and played in the game last night. And you know, Chris does a good job and plays hard as can be, and that's what we've got to have out of all of our guys, but especially, you know, Chris is a sophomore defensive lineman in there slugging it out with some big guys, and has done a really good job.
Yeah, and the second kid that just as I've watched him play, watched the JV game and just watched him come in and play some in the varsity on our special teams is J.J. Walters. You know, we talked about J.J. the week before. J.J. had 2 big kick returns on special teams. Last night, he had a big tackle there on special teams, and just watching him go to the football and watching him run that football, you know, it lets you see that, hey, there's some younger guys behind these boys that's playing now that's coming up that's going to help us down the road. No question. And JJ's a guy he's one of those kids that loves football, and he loves playing, loves competing, and he's a freshman that, you know, that's demonstrated he's got some athletic ability. He's not real big either, but I tell you what, he can run, and he's strong, and he's a kid that as an 8th grader, you know, he worked out with us in the weight room all spring, and you know, has really earned his way to getting some playing time for us. And you know, as we go forward, he'll probably start playing a little more. And you know, and he is a guy that, you know, you look, you know, a year from now is going to be playing a whole lot of football for us. Sure. And he's done a really good job, and we're awful happy with where JJ is right now. All right, folks, we want to invite you to come out to Trojan Stadium Friday night at 7 o'clock. It'll be homecoming as we host the Allen County Patriots as they come to Glasgow. And, folks, again, we want to thank Coach Griffith for being with us on Ask the Coach this morning. And if you would like to check out the podcast, the McDonald's podcast with game film, you can do that after the show airs at watchwclu.com, or just go to wcluradio.com. Folks, you come back and join us next week, and as we go over the highlights from the Trojans and the Patriots.